So I literally just watched this long YouTube video by Tom Nicholas talking about transphobia in Britain. And if you were a lot younger and didn't have the experience of growing up with political nonsense, it might seem like an article, like a think piece about, oh, how transphobic Britain is. If you actually have experience listening to these sorts of things, you might actually notice what my problem is with this article. He basically made a video that's one half about a cartoon American conservative and one half about the British political system. Um, then he undermined his own point between 24 and 29 minutes. He basically outlined why people in Britain are giving, labor people like questions to answer, like, is saying a woman is someone with a cervix is that transphobic? Which should be answerable very easily by a normal human. No, it's not transphobic in and of itself. It might be tactless if you say it around a trans person, and if you say it in anger, it can be a form of harassment that is transphobic, but it depends on the attitude and how you say it and who you are directing it towards. But left wing politicians are usually extremely weak in debates because they're stupid people who aren't really all that progressive. They're just in it for corporate money or something. I don't know. I don't know what exactly drives left wing politicians to become left wing politicians that don't actually want to do anything and just are meh. I get pathetic. Like, as time goes on, when you grow up, yeah, conservatives are typically the supervillains of history, but the left wing, the money side of the left wing, the progressive side is a lot smaller than you might expect. Because, well, I might be progressive, but I'm also lazy. I'm not gonna just go out and do something unless I have a reason or there's like a clear injustice in front of me. Yeah, yeah. The more you watch Demo- what in America would be Democrats, like the more pathetic they seem as people, and the more jaded you get with the process. And I am annoyed by this random stupid video because it seems to, at the very end, do that weird Stephen Molyneux type thing where it pretends like it was philosophical because it talked about something, or it pretends to be meaningful because it talked about something, when in reality, all it did was find a cheap, like, target, like some random idiot cartoon conservative guy, not juxtaposes it, but fuses it into the narrative he's presenting to about conservatives in Britain, ignores any of their points, like do does legislation about gender identity, pronoun usage, like affect free speech at all? And just blatantly labels everyone. There's literally maybe one example, just one example of a politician actually doing something that can be legitimately seen as transphobic. A black chick in Britain like used her authority over like a pair of bathrooms to label them gentlemen here, ladies here, and like exclude I don't know what, because there's no details there. It's just cheap shots at conservatives using the same exact method that the cartoon conservative guy was using. But yeah, just framing your opponent as crazy or evil. But if you actually paid attention and then just bring your emotions to the video, you would notice the exact middle of your video under explains why it's not actually transphobic. You have not presented any transphobia. You've just presented the profit motive being important in like people are asked questions about topic because people who answer those questions are idiots and don't know how to answer those questions and are fucking retarded. And he does this weird thing like where he's like praising someone's answer and then it's like, oh, you almost had it. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Left wing politicians don't answer questions. Right wing politicians are effective at winning elections. Left wing politicians are usually better for the economy. Right wing politicians claim they want to lower taxes a lot, but then they increase taxes usually, like gradually slight increases here and there and there and there because they don't actually spend their money on things that will save the government money long term. So left wing politicians end up with lower taxes, but they get bigger tax, but they increase taxes in bigger intervals, but more rarely. Now I'm rambling like this idiot. And progressives are there to whine about specific topics because injustice and here and there and there and there. And progressives rarely want to team up with the cartoon historical villains that they grew up learning about. So they pick the lazy idiots on the Democratic side of things. But then when real change is possible, the Democrats just drop, like, just don't give a shit and just, like, fail at, like, any sort of negotiation. So it's a whole fucking industry of stupid. Politics is an industry of stupid. And this type of article is exactly what's fueling it, really. Like, don't acknowledge one side's actual issue, actual problem with what is being discussed. The actual problem when it comes to alleged transphobia is, well, I feel like if someone has the power to tell me not to misgender someone, then they are going to use that power for other shit. And also, you shouldn't be telling me what I should be saying. Fuck you. Free speech is absolute. Are there examples of maybe free speech being suppressed or the government doing shady shit? Like maybe if someone, for example, hypothetically, theoretically, made a joke video about his pug doing a Nazi salute, planned on messing with his girlfriend using their TV because she's not subscribed to him, and when he posted on YouTube, it's going to be funny to tease her about it. That guy getting arrested for it, even though it's clear that he's just fucking around and it's mildly offensive. Then the prosecutor prosecuting him in a way where he's not allowed to use free speech as a defense, and the judge ignoring his explanation of, I wanted to mess with my girlfriend because she wasn't subscribed to his channel. And the cops then doing shady shit. Like, they're not supposed to tell journalists without putting it on record, but the journalist showed up anyway. And how did the journalist show up? Taking money he refused to pay in fine, and a fine because of this from his bank account without telling him. Appeals courts not explaining why his appeal is being rejected. That sort of thing. Also, him getting denied, legal aid, money for legal aid, because that's the system in Scotland. And that because his fiancée got an inheritance, but the inheritance is legally required to be used for the buying of a house or apartment or something. So he does not have access to his fiancée's finances, but at the same time, his fiancée is just a fiancée and not a wife, so she cannot refuse to not give testimony. Cannot refuse to give testimony. Yeah, free speech in Britain is not at all an issue. Nobody's being hyperbolic about J.K. Rowling. No. Let's just call the conservatives average cartoon bad people and pretend like all liberals are good. Like, that's not the primary problem of society today.